evening. It's been 2 weeks since Libby and Abby went for a hike and never returned.
There's no path going there, so we have to go down here. Bye.
She didn't know she was doing it. She was 14 years old, she was scared, and she had her phone in her hand. And in the last minutes of her life, Liberty German recorded her killer. His voice, his image.
There's no path going there, so we have to go down here.
The footage sat on her phone until investigators found it the next day. And what they heard, 2 words, spoken calmly, as if he owned the air around him, became the most chilling piece of audio in any American cold case in recent memory. Guys, down the hill. A man's voice, low, unhurried. 3 words, and then nothing. We are going to come back to that audio, because that audio is the entire case. This is the Delphi murders, the case that turned a small Indiana town into a true crime phenomenon, kept millions of people awake at night, and produced one of the most chaotic trials in modern American history.
To ensure that if any other person had any involvement in these murders, will be held accountable.
2 girls went up a trail. Neither came home. One of them left behind the only evidence that exists of what happened to them. And for 6 years, that evidence caught nobody. Monday, February 13th, 2017. Delphi, Indiana. Population 2,800. School was out for the day. Libby German, 14, and Abby Williams, 13, wanted to hike the Monon High Bridge Trail, a stretch of former railroad track elevated over Deer Creek. Libby's older sister Kelsey dropped them off at 1:30 p.m. "We told each other we loved each other," Kelsey said. "That was the last time I saw her." Just after 2 p.m., Libby posted a photo of the bridge on Snapchat. That Snapchat post was the last contact from either girl.
And that's kind of how I've always wanted to live my life, is knowing that she's my role model now.
When the girls failed to meet Libby's father that afternoon, he called the police. February 14th, 2017, Valentine's Day. Their bodies were found in the woods near Deer Creek, less than a mile from where they were last seen. Both girls had had their throats cut. Abby was clothed in Libby's sweatshirt and jeans. Libby was found nude and covered in blood. Their bodies had been partially covered with sticks. An unspent .40 caliber bullet lay between them. The search party that found them included people from across the community, neighbors, volunteers, locals who had come out overnight. One of those locals was a man named Richard Allen. He walked past the search parties. He didn't find the girls. The town of Delphi mourned, and investigators had something extraordinary, something almost no cold case ever has. A recording, footage of the suspect, his voice. And for the next 6 years, all of it was not enough to catch anyone. Days after the murders, Indiana State Police released what they had from Libby's phone. First, a still image from the video, a man walking on the bridge, hands in his pockets, head slightly down. Then they released the audio. "Guys, down the hill." That was all. And those 3 words, distributed across news broadcasts, shared millions of times online.
And as recently as last month, investigators say he admitted he was on the same trail the girls were on.
Transcribed and analyzed and argued over in true crime forums, became the most listened to piece of criminal audio since the Zodiac letters. Here's something that will matter later. When investigators released a physical description of the suspect in 2017, witnesses on the trail described a man in his 20s with brown curly hair. Remember that. We'll come back to it. The Delphi murders became a true crime obsession unlike almost any other case of its era. Reddit forums dedicated to identifying Bridge Guy, podcast episodes broke download records. Retired FBI agents, forensic artists, amateur investigators, all of them sifting through those same few seconds of footage, trying to extract something more.
This picture had actually come from Libby's phone. She had captured that image. Not only that, she had also captured his voice.
In 2019, police released a second sketch of the suspect, different from the first. The two sketches looked like different people. The forums exploded. For 6 years, the case produced tips, theories, suspects, and no arrest. Before we get to the arrest and the trial, I want to take 5 seconds. Cases like this one, where the investigation, the evidence, and the verdict are all genuinely contested, are exactly what this channel is for. Subscribing takes 2 seconds, and it helps. Now, back to Delphi, because in October 2022, everything changed. October 31st, 2022, a clerk at the Carroll County Sheriff's Office was digitizing old tip files, physical papers that had never been entered into the digital system, when she found it. A 2017 tip. Richard Allen, a local man who had told police 3 days after the murders that he had been on the bridge that day. He said he hadn't seen the girls. 5 years later, a clerk found his name in a pile of paper. Police obtained a search warrant. In Allen's home, they found a Ruger .40 caliber pistol.
Court records say a .40 caliber unfired bullet was found between the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German.
On October 31st, 2022, Richard Matthew Allen, a 50-year-old CVS pharmacy employee who lived in Delphi, who had walked past the search parties, was arrested. Here is the question this case does not answer cleanly. Richard Allen confessed more than 60 times while incarcerated. He told his wife, his mother, the prison psychologist, the warden. He said, "I did it. I killed Abby and Libby." He said it over and over. And yet, no DNA linked him to the crime scene. No witness identified him as Bridge Guy. The physical description of the suspect didn't match him. His defense argued his confessions were the product of a mental breakdown caused by months of isolation and solitary confinement.
I didn't murder anybody. I didn't help somebody murder anybody.
The trial began October 18th, 2024, 7.5 years after the murders. It was held in Delphi itself, at the Carroll County Courthouse, in the very town where it happened. Before the first witness was called, the case had already been through extraordinary chaos. The defense attorneys had been removed by the judge for allowing crime scene photos to leak, then reinstated by the Indiana Supreme Court. A gag order had been in place since 2022. The judge, Special Judge Francis Gull, had presided over a proceeding that legal observers described as unlike any trial they'd seen in Indiana. Remember the witness descriptions from 2017? A man in his 20s with brown curly hair? The defense made this a centerpiece of their argument at trial. Richard Allen was 44 at the time of the murders. Not one witness explicitly identified Allen as the man on the bridge or the man on the trail. Defense attorney Bradley Rozzi said in his closing, "No fingerprint, DNA, or forensic evidence links Allen to the murder scene." The prosecution's counterweight, Allen's confessions, more than 60 of them. The jury heard recordings of Allen telling his wife, "I did it. I killed Abby and Libby."
They heard Richard Allen confess to the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German in his own words.
They heard prison psychologist Monica Walla testify that Allen told her he had originally planned to sexually assault the girls. The defense argued Walla had been listening to podcasts about the case for 3 hours a day while treating him and had posted about it on social media. The jury, 7 women, 5 men, deliberated for 19 hours across 3 days. On November 11th, 2024, Richard Allen was found guilty on all 4 counts.
jury has found an Indiana man guilty of killing 2 teenage girls. Richard Allen.
Judge Gull sentenced him to 130 years in prison, 2 consecutive terms of 65 years, 1 for each girl. From the bench, she said, "I've spent 27 years as a judge, and you rank right up there with the most heinous crimes in the state of Indiana. These families will deal with your carnage forever." Conviction: 130 years. Done. Except it is not done. And the reason it is not done is not just online conjecture. Allen's attorneys filed an appeal with legitimate legal grounds. Their central argument: the jury only heard half the story. Evidence was excluded at trial that they say would have pointed to other suspects. The defense had argued throughout the case that the murders bore the hallmarks of a Norse pagan ritual, that investigators had originally investigated 2 Indiana-based Odinist groups in connection with the killings, and that the date of the murders, February 13, 2017, falls on Valisblot, a Norse pagan holiday. The judge excluded all of this from the jury. Allen's attorneys wrote in their appeal, "The only way our justice system works is if the jury hears the full truth." Because the jury only heard half the story, Allen was denied a fair trial. There's also the matter of the confessions themselves. A psychiatrist testifying for the defense told the jury that months in solitary confinement can make a person delirious and psychotic. Allen's attorneys documented that in one prison confession, Allen claimed he was already dead and that the world would blow up if he fell asleep. In another, he said he would kill everyone and wipe out the whole world. These were the confessions of a man the defense said had been broken by the conditions of his confinement, not a reliable admission of guilt. The Indiana Supreme Court oral arguments on Allen's appeal are scheduled for 2025. The case is not over. At the beginning of this video, I told you the audio was the entire case. Here's what I meant. Guys, down the hill. Those 3 words are the only direct evidence from the crime itself that puts any person in that space at that moment. Everything else is downstream of that audio. The composite sketches, the tip that eventually found Richard Allen, the trial, the confessions. The voice on Libby's phone is the beginning of the chain. Richard Allen's attorneys argue their client's voice does not match. The prosecution says it does. Abby's last recorded words, according to trial testimony, were, "Don't leave me up here." Her grandmother heard that in the courtroom. She said she refused to leave, even during the hardest testimony, because she had promised Abby she wouldn't. Libby German was 14. Abby Williams was 13. They went up a trail on a winter afternoon and never came home. Libby had the presence of mind to record what was happening. That recording changed what this case was. Whether it has produced the right verdict is a question the Indiana Supreme Court will now answer. Whatever that court decides, 2 things will always be true. The girls were real. The loss was real. If you believe cases like this one deserve more than a single news cycle, subscribe. Abby and Libby deserved more than they got. The least we can do is keep saying their names.